What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We have big news about Spider-Man 4 today that confirms quite a bit about what to expect from the movie. As expected, Spider-Man moving forward is going to be, of course, one of the main characters of the MCU, from Avengers Doomsday to Spider-Man 4, Secret Wars, and anything that might possibly happen in between any of those movies. It looks like Spider-Man and Spider-Men are going to be main characters of the MCU. And it looks like between the plans that Marvel Studios have for Spider-Man and the plans that Sony have for Spider-Man, because of course they're still there, and as long as they own those rights, even though Spider-Man is in the MCU, they're still going to give their input to Marvel Studios, but luckily Kevin Feige is in charge. And it sounds like the plans for Spider-Man are actually going to be really good. And coming off of Spider-Man No Way Home, where we got Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man return, you know the next one has to be really good as well. But Spider-Man 4 is going to be a little bit different than it was originally planned to be. And that is mainly due to the release date. According to insider Daniel RPK, who has had a very good track record with scoops recently, Spider-Man 4 is now going to film next year, and it is slated for a July 2026 release date. This is literally right after Avengers Doomsday. Right now, Avengers Doomsday is scheduled for May 1st, 2026. So just 2 months later, after its theatrical run, they are going to release Spider-Man 4. And this really does tell us a lot about what to expect from the movie. And there really are a lot of different aspects that are going to be a big part of Spider-Man 4, like the multiverse, Miles Morales, different types of villains, the symbiote. And of course, we're in the multiverse saga now, and we will be in the multiverse for Spider-Man 4, so cameos. Hopefully done just as well as they were done in Deadpool and Wolverine, because that was perfect. But let's start with the first part, the multiverse, because since this takes place right after Avengers Doomsday, and the Avengers are most likely going to lose in Avengers Doomsday, this means Spider-Man 4 is going to take place inside of a universe that is being destroyed, or a multiverse that is being destroyed. In fact, according to another previous report by the same person, Daniel RPK, every movie that takes place between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars will take place on Battleworld, a universe or a world that is the culmination of the remains of the multiverse. So a bunch of different universes combined into one world. That is reportedly where Spider-Man 4 is going to take place, which means obviously it's going to have a big multiversal component to it. Now, Spider-Man 3, No Way Home, it had a big multiversal component to it as well, except this one's going to be quite different. Before, it was really kind of magic and the Doctor Strange spell that brought in the other Spider-Man and the villains. So quite different than what we're going to get in Battleworld, where it will be the destruction of the multiverse that causes Battleworld to be formed, and now what we assume is going to be a reunion between these three Spider-Men again, plus even more Spider-Man characters. And if you think about it, this could actually be insanely good for the next Spider-Man film, especially if Sony kind of plays ball with Marvel Studios. If they cooperate with Marvel, this could be fantastic, because this would mean, since they are in Battleworld, nothing is really off limits, because you could take any character from any universe and put them on Battleworld and simply say that their universe was destroyed, they are a remnant left over of their universe, and they ended up on Battleworld. And it does really make it to where certain things are really easy to set up. Like I mentioned, Miles Morales, the symbiote, and especially other villains. In a really interesting way, if this movie does indeed take place on Battleworld, that actually opens it up to be one of the most Spider-Man movies ever, because nothing would be off limits. No Spider-Man character, whether that's a good character or a bad one, or someone in between, would be off limits. They could theoretically get any villain that they want and put them in this movie. They could get any other Spider-Man variant that they want and put them in this movie as well. While at the same time, you could have a fairly grounded story of Spider-Man perhaps searching for MJ and Ned and his other friends. Then to really top it off and to get really emotional, perhaps he could search for Aunt May or a variant of Tony Stark. In fact, one of the most exciting theories revolves around the villains. If Spider-Man 4 is indeed a very multiversal film, it might introduce or revisit villains not just from the MCU, but from other Spider-Man universes, like Morlun, a villain from the Spider-Verse comics, and he could be a prime candidate, known for hunting spider totems across dimensions. Morlun's introduction would naturally tie into the multiverse plot, offering a very new kind of threat that challenges Peter's understanding of his specific role in the multiverse. Now, a lot of people thought we were going this route with the spider totems in Madam Web, but of course, that did not happen. But since they're not doing it, might as well let the MCU do it, but that is just one possibility. But it does seem like they are going to go a very comic accurate route with a specific thing with Spider-Man 4, and that is the Venom Symbiote. Spider-Man got the symbiote for the very first time in the comics in Secret Wars, the first time we saw him with the black suit. Well, of course, the post-credit scene for both Venom Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man No Way Home teased the Venom Symbiote in the MCU. Now, the trailer for Venom The Last Dance kind of confused everybody, but based off of what a lot of different insiders have heard, the plan is for Spider-Man to get the symbiote in Secret Wars. That way it is very comic accurate. And honestly, it's a really great opportunity and could offer a lot of different story points for Spider-Man on Battleworld. And it could also give him a lot more power that he would need to go up against Doom. Because remember, this is going to be coming right out of Doomsday. So we're assuming that some other Avengers are going to be in this movie as well. And perhaps they all are tasked with different assignments. Maybe the Avengers scatter across Battleworld to find a bunch of different heroes to help them go against Doom, kind of like what we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine, where Deadpool and Wolverine go to the Borderlands to find Elektra, Blade, Gambit, X-23. Perhaps it is like that in Spider-Man 4 as well. Perhaps it's like that in everything after Avengers Doomsday that takes place on Battleworld. The Avengers finding the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, all of them coming together. Spider-Man finding Miles Morales, who could be introduced in this film in a very awesome and again, very comic accurate way. And this could be how he gets to the MCU. Now, I know that technically there is supposed to be a Miles Morales in the MCU right now. We saw Aaron Davis, aka Prowler, played by the Childish Gambino in Spider-Man Homecoming, and we heard him say that he's got a nephew, which of course would be Miles Morales. However, some insiders have stated in the past that they have heard that Miles actually isn't going to be from the MCU, not from our main 616 sacred timeline. So if he's not from the main universe, then that means he's coming to the main universe from another one, and what better way to do that and set that up than to have him be introduced in Avengers Secret Wars. And this is what happens in the comics actually. After the multiverse is restored, Molecule Man actually lets Miles Morales stay in the sacred timeline. He actually places him there. And it's kind of funny, the reason he does this, he does it kind of as a favor because at one point in time during Secret Wars, he asks Miles if he has anything to eat and Miles gives him a hamburger. And it's really interesting because Molecule Man hadn't eaten in a very long time. So in order to repay him when the multiverse was restored, not only did he bring Miles Morales to the sacred timeline, but he brought his friends and his family there as well, and he wrote them into the history of the universe like they had been there the entire time. So this is what we could see happen in Spider-Man 4. All of this could take place. Obviously not the multiverse being restored, that's going to be saved for the end of Secret Wars, but the introduction of Miles Morales and his possible friends as well. Spider-Gwen could show up. Spider-Man 2099 could show up. In fact, we recently heard a rumor that Marvel Studios actually wanted Spider-Man 2099 to show up and fight with Kang. Now, obviously, plans for Kang have been scrapped, and Sony said that that's a pretty big ask. However, given everything that happened in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it would make a lot of sense for him to show up. Then on top of that, we could literally have any villain from Spider-Man. Well, as long as Sony lets Marvel Studios use them. But in theory, any villain could show up because this takes place on Battleworld. And again, it could have a rather grounded story because once the multiverse gets destroyed, Spider-Man could go seek out those that he loves. There he could still come across the characters that we thought he was going to run into in Spider-Man 4, like Kingpin, Daredevil, possibly Ant-Man. And really, any cameo is kind of possible since this will take place on Battleworld. And I mean, fingers crossed, we finally get that Spider-Man Deadpool team up. Maybe not even just a team up, but just an interaction, because I know a lot of people, myself included, have been waiting for that. And the best part is Spider-Man 4, anything is possible with this film since it's going to take place between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, which a lot of people thought would be weird, but I think actually is really, really cool now, especially if it really all does take place on Battleworld. A lot of possibilities here, but go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you like how Spider-Man 4 is shaping up or not? Let me know your thoughts, and please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man and MCU news. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Apple Podcast and Spotify. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.